and practicing your people skills with mock interviews. They also have tons of info on internships, micro-internships, and experiential education opportunities to help you develop important on-the-job skills without leaving campus.
Welcome back, everyone, to the UKY Invitational LAN. This is the spring 2023. Obviously, I'm Joker's Ransom. He's dividing, and we're ready to bring you the second matchup on stream here. We've got a banger of a match for you. We've got CIU versus Oklahoma, and I'm so excited for this matchup.
Man, it's going to be tough to follow up what was on stream just before, but if there's any matchup in this second round of first-round matches that is going to be able to do it, I think it's going to be this one. Oklahoma, CIU are two teams that are very familiar with each other. I've actually talked to a couple of members of both these teams, and they let me know that they've actually played each other several times throughout this semester, so there's a level of familiarity there. There's a rivalry that's been building, and Oklahoma, of course, has a little bit of pedigree to keep up with because they did have a pretty respectable performance when they came to this event last year. I think they came in 5th, but coming into this one as the 13th overall seed, I think they are coming in with something to prove.
Yeah, they definitely are. They definitely are indeed. And I mean, we do have an interview here, Dividing, that you happened to do yesterday with one of the CIU players, Benji. Let's go take a look at that.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Dividing, and I am here with CIU. Introduce yourself, your name, and what you do for the team.
I'm Xavier Mitchell. I go by Benji in game and play DPS for CIU.
Thank you so much, Benji. Thanks for joining me today. You guys are coming in as, I believe, are you the number 4 seed going into that one?
That's correct, yes.
Got it right. So coming in as the number 4 seed, you obviously have a lot of expectations, especially as newcomers into the event. How are you guys feeling about how the qualifiers went and how you're going to carry that into the LAN of this weekend?
We're feeling very well. I think that we are very prepared for the LAN, and we have high expectations of ourselves. And I think if we play to the best of our ability, that we can go pretty far in this LAN. So we're looking forward to it. We're very excited.
Absolutely. Is there any particular players you want to highlight as being someone to look out for? Any special strats you might have up your sleeve?
No.
No. You know what? I respect it. I respect it a lot. Tell me, who are you facing in round 1?
Oklahoma? Well, Oklahoma, I'm pretty sure, is our first one. I don't know who our second match is. I usually just kind of personally,
I interviewed Oklahoma earlier today, and they told us that you guys have actually played each other several times this semester.
Yeah, we beat them at least twice. I don't think they've taken a map from us yet.
Oh, man, they were feeling pretty confident. So how do you think the Oklahoma-CIU match is going to go down?
I think it's very important that we win this first match. Best of luck to Oklahoma, but we are trying very, very hard to win this first match against them, and we're very confident considering we haven't lost to them yet. So.
Absolutely. And so I do want to hear you. I want to hear you shoot your shot. How far do you think CIU is making it this weekend?
The goal is grand finals.
Grand finals or bust for the CIU Rams. Thank you so much for watching. Benji, thank you so much for agreeing to this interview, and good luck to the teams and everyone playing this game. Man, I gotta say, that interviewer, pretty handsome.
He definitely is. But before we head into the games here, let's take a look at the qualifiers for both of these two teams. Let's take first a look at CIU here, see how they got here, what led them, and it was pretty respectable. They only lost 2 matches.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty solid squad coming in at the number 4 overall seed, and they do have pretty solid wins against teams. Like, look at that, match 6, actually. CIU actually 2-0'd Oklahoma in the qualifiers only a couple weeks ago, and then followed that up with a win against the number 8 overall seed OSU Scarlet, which I can say have actually won their first-round matchup against Blins. So that only makes that win even better. So I will say that match 2 right there, that 1-2 loss against Cincinnati, I gotta point it out because Cincinnati are my guys, and they were very proud of getting that win over a team like that, especially considering how well they ended up performing overall. This is a very, very strong team. They kind of pushed out onto the scene when it came to, I believe it was the CECC Southeast Regional qualifiers where they came out of nowhere to come in 3rd place, and since then we've been keeping a very close eye on this squad and how they've been progressing.
Now let's go over to Oklahoma. Look at this, their qualifiers here as well. And I mean, obviously they're the 13th seed here, so it's not going to be as pretty as CIU's, but still some respectable wins there in for them.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this squad and you see immediately, they had to go up against Maryville. They had to go up against Miami University. They had to go up against, like I said, CIU. There's a lot of really tough matches on this schedule. And so I think that, like I said, a little bit going forward, I think this is a team that's coming in with something to prove. They have, I think the vibe that I got from them when I was talking to them was, we got a really tough schedule in Swiss. We should probably be ranked higher than we are right now, and this is their chance to prove it.
Yeah, this is definitely a grudge match because, well, we've shown you they've had to play them in the Swiss round, so they're looking to get the upset to start things off. And, well, to start things off, we have our map to start things out for round number 2 of the games. It is Busan to start things off, and I love Busan. I love all control maps because it can show the way that these teams will like to play, how they'll set up, and because it also can show a diversity of comps.
Yeah, a very big diversity of comps. I will say this particular map does tend to lean a little more towards maybe those poke comps, maybe those dive comps. Downtown has that awesome perch spot up at the top of the skyscrapers that is very difficult. Like, if you're going on Widowmaker or on Ashe, it's very difficult to get anyone off of that point unless you go for a Widowmaker or an Ashe yourself. So we'll see if either of these teams want to opt into something like that. If it's not going to be that, it could be maybe more of a dive or a rush composition. Those comps are really, really good at being able to take control of open space really fast. Shrine is just basically one massive open space. And then, of course, you've got Mecha Base, which is kind of the outlier of the 3. It's a lot more closed in, so if we're going to see teams run Brawl, it's most likely going to be there.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there. And I think from what I was seeing when I was walking around the facility, it was a lot of Brawl. I think that's the comfort for most of these teams. And if anyone can get the outliers of the compositions, like the Sigma Poke comps that we'll see probably on Escort, I think that's going to be really the decisive factor in most of these.
Yeah, absolutely. But even if you don't end up on Brawl, if you end up being forced out of it, it's which teams are going to be able to sort of adjust quickly and be able to show that they have a mastery of multiple kinds of compositions. I don't think you're going to get super far in this LAN event if you end up being kind of a one-trick pony when it comes to only being able to play a certain kind of composition at a certain point in time. That definitely limits the amount of maps that you can be effective on. And then, of course, if someone's able to beat you at that comp, then you're just kind of out of luck.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it's all about adaptation. And if you're obviously losing out on a comp, you've got to move to that counter composition before it's too late, because this is a first to 2, a best of 3. You can't have these long series that you can maybe try for the reverse sweep in like a best of 3. It's a lot harder to change the tide of the momentum that these teams that win control have to start things off.
And the margin of error is just so thin, right? We saw it in the game right before this one where it was so incredibly close between Kentucky and Kennesaw State. It came down to one final fight in overtime, extra rounds on Shambhala Monastery. If you were playing a best of 5, then yeah, sure, losing that map, it sucks, you're down 0-2, but you still have time to kind of figure out the kind of compositions that Kentucky is playing. You just didn't have that time when it comes to a best of 3. That one lost fight ends up sending Kennesaw State down to the lower bracket in a matchup where, honestly, I think that if they had had another map to kind of figure things out, there was a really good chance of them being able to potentially turn that around. Unfortunately, that is not the world we live in. The world we live in is one where Kentucky moved on to round 2 of winners, as well as, let me see if I can get this right, Maryville, Ohio State Scarlet, and Louisiana State University all winning their matches in the first round.
Yeah, and that Louisiana State game was nice.
Big, kind of a big upset, right?
It
That's the 12 seed over the 5 seed. I mean, March Madness fans know that's always a bit of a vulnerable spot, and unfortunately, the University of South Florida fell to Louisiana State in a 3-map series. It was actually really exciting over on the B stream.
It really was. It really was, and I mean, it was a 2-1 though. So we have been seeing more than 2 O's throughout the series so far. I mean, obviously, 2 O's are going to be the predominant thing that we like to we'll see a lot.
Sure.
But other than that, but when you get those map 3s, it just brings the hype so much more, especially on land. Come on. It makes everything 10 times better.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And by the way, if you've never been to a LAN before, I would definitely recommend you do it. The vibes here are absolutely immaculate. Everyone is here to compete, but it's also a really nice little social event, networking event. Players who have been playing together in ranked for years. Like, I was talking to someone, I think from CIU, who was like, I have been playing with these guys in ranked. I've seen these names in ranked for months and months and years. And now I can put a face to those names. I can put a voice to those names. I can see these people. It's actually really cool to see players who are from completely different teams walk up to each other and greet each other like friends because they ended up playing ranked together at some point.
Yeah, it's great. It's really great. So if you're in the Kentucky area, I mean, come on down.
Come on down.
Why not? What better things can you do on a Saturday and Sunday?
At least in the morning. Yeah, at least in the morning you're not doing.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just come on down and watch some video games.
Yeah, of course. I mean, other than that, I mean, what are you gonna do? Sleep? I mean,
you could.
Fair enough.
That's actually not an awful. I mean, honestly, if I was not working this event, I'd probably be either asleep, or in bed half asleep, but trying not to go to sleep.
Yeah, no, I'd definitely be at home watching YouTube or something right now. But hey, I'm glad that you invited me out. I'm here. I'm experiencing good weather coming from upstate New York. We don't get much sunshine there.
You don't, and this was actually a rough day that you actually got away from.
Yeah, and unfortunately, team had to not be here because of the weather that was happening in Chicago. Northeastern was supposed to be here, but they flew into Chicago, and that severe weather that hit up in the air in Illinois that stopped Redbirds from competing in the Pro-Am.
Yeah.
Stopped them from getting to connecting flights, so that's unfortunate for them. They would have loved it. They're a very good team. I've seen them compete before.
I was looking forward to meeting them. It's really unfortunate.
What was it? The Boston Uprising Collegiate Cup.
Yep.
And they're really good. They're a really good team. And it's unfortunate that they're not here to participate.
It's tough, but unfortunately it is what it is. That's why we're not going to be seeing Miami, Ohio in this round 1 matchup. They will be effectively getting a bye because Northeastern is not here. That being said, as we wait for the lobby to fill up here, teams are on stage right now, getting set up, getting ready to go. I want to hear your thoughts on the April Fool's patch. We're not playing on the April Fool's patch, but I think we might be seeing some googly eyes. We might be hearing some interesting voice lines today.
Oh my gosh.
What is your favorite part of the April Fool's patch?
I think it has to be the Genji. If you spam the healing, you finally actually get healing.
I mean, it's what they've been wanting the whole time, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's perfect. They finally, the Genji mains finally got what they wanted, healing.
Absolutely. I personally really like the fact that Cassidy, when you roll, you actually dodge all projectiles. So it's like you do like a little matrix dodge. That's pretty cool. I'm also a really big fan of Reinhardt being able to fly. So... love that for Reinhardt. Finally, I mean, you'd think that with the massive rockets on his back, like
should be able to fly.
I mean, Reinhardt's a heavy guy, but still, like it feels like you're so close to being able to make that work, and finally made it happen.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, the voice lines very, very amusing. We won't talk about one of the characters, but we were talking about Reapers going happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
When they use Death Blossom. So that's gonna be something to watch out for on stream here. Maybe I'll say it during it as oh, look at that. We're looking at OSU or
OU.
not OU. Oh my goodness, that's gonna get me.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. You got 2 Ohio State teams too. So like technically you're like, it's like a 66% chance of getting it right.
Yeah, but like they're gonna hate because then they're gonna hate me because I'm messing them up with Oklahoma State, and that's just not good. That's not gonna be good. But I'll get that right eventually. OU. And they see themselves. They just said, "Oh, hey, look, Mom, I'm on camera." I mean, they're CIU. They're all getting ready, warming up. I think getting everything all set up to ready to go.
Yeah, pretty quick. Everyone's kind of getting warmed up. As we are quickly approaching our first map of the day. But of course, just making sure we're getting through all the tech issues, everyone's getting set up. But those are your 2 teams right there. 2 teams that are very, very familiar with each other throughout this semester. Teams that have faced off just a couple weeks ago in the qualifiers. And of course, CIU, having won that, obviously feels pretty confident about their chances here. I will say, though, when it comes to CIU, you should definitely be keeping an eye on Zest, their flex DPS player. This kind of known on Overwatch Twitter as a Pharah specialist, but I think CIU has definitely shown that they can still win even if they are not playing that Pharah. I will say I think it's likely that we could see a Pharmercy comp from CIU over the course of this, but they can definitely play solid Sombra comps, solid Genji comps too. This is definitely a team that you shouldn't be thinking of as a one-trick team. They've shown that they can find success on multiple different comps.
I do love me some Pharah comps. It's just because I can't aim. I like to play a lot of Pharah when I'm playing on PC, but because I also use a controller because I'm one of those people. So I love watching good Pharah players, and I'm excited to see if Zest pulls it out here.
I would hope to see it. I mean, we saw it a little bit, I think, out of University of Kentucky in the last game. So you got to try and follow that up somehow, right? So I'm really looking forward to seeing it if we do. I'm really looking even if we don't, though, I'm looking forward to see what both these teams are going to come out with to start. Again, I think, as we kind of touched on already, Busan does open things up a lot to being able to, I guess, being able to kind of roll with whatever you're most comfortable with.
Yeah. I mean, there are some points, like, I feel Pharah on downtown, that can work well. But going into Sanctuary, it's kind of open. It still can work, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's not the best. And then going into Mecha Base, that's just Brawl. It's Brawl Central. If you're forcing Pharah, it could work because maybe they're not playing. Maybe they're playing a Reaper May instead of Cassidy May, so that could work for you in there. But it's gonna be hard sometimes to run it. But if you're a good Pharah, you can make anything work.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's just all about being able to play around structures, trying to stay out of range. And I will say a lot of teams do like to play the Sojourn right now, and that does open things up a little bit more for the Pharah, because like 80% of the Sojourn's attacks are projectile.
Yeah.
It's a little less of a projectile, but like it's a pretty fast projectile is what I mean. But even so, you were opened up a little bit more because, you know, it's not just like, oh, click on the head and it immediately works. That's not quite how it ends up working out in this case. So I think that there's an opportunity there, especially if you run the Sojourn on the side of Oklahoma. That being said, you could easily swap off to the Cassidy, the Ashe, even the Hanzo. You could probably make it work. So hopefully, you know, again, because these teams are so familiar with each other, there is there's an element of like mind games going on, because Oklahoma seems pretty confident that they know what CIU is going to run, Does that mean then that CIU is going to pull out something completely different here on land to throw them off guard?
Yeah, and resting on your what you're good at is not always the best thing to do, especially if you know if the teams know each other.
Right.
Like you said, you need to be always have that element of surprise and not resting on what runs. I mean, you can rest on it, but if it's not, if they're finding you out, you gotta swap it up, and you need to be able to be comfortable on more things than just what you're good at.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully, hey, what's up? What's up, guys? Appreciate it. Appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, I think there is a lot to say about just the ability. I like to think of Overwatch as being like the most complicated game of rock, paper, scissors ever. It's like rock, paper, scissors. But you know how you would play rock, paper, scissors like in grade school, where you would like add
Volcano.
volcano, black hole, whatever.
Yeah.
You would just kind of throw whatever you would throw whatever in the mix and just say, I win and this beats everything.
Yeah,
that's what you would do. There's nothing like that in Overwatch, but it's just like the most complicated web of rock, paper, scissors ever. And then being able to realize where your rock, paper, scissors is not quite matching up to the other team, and being able to effectively swap is the mark of, honestly, a really good team. It's kind of what separates the great teams from the good teams.
I was going to say, you said there's not a hero that just is the end-all be-all. I would like to counter with you with early Brig.
Well, okay, no hero in the game right now. We're actually in a fairly balanced place right now.
Which is great. I mean, especially since Reinhardt's if Reinhardt's meta, I mean, the game's in a good place. That's
true.
That's my humble opinion as a tank player. So, but I think that's a general consensus from the majority of the Overwatch community that if it's good, if Reinhardt's good, the game's good at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I can confirm that we do have the teams up in lobby now, so we are all warmed up. Everything that I don't quite know what we were working through outside, but we've got it all figured out now. Teams are on lobby. We should be getting into our first game momentarily. Thank you so much for being patient with us. Obviously, there's a lot of moving parts that goes into putting on a LAN event. So there is, as teams are kind of swapping in and out, everyone's got their own peripherals. So you got to figure out where everything plugs into a computer you don't know. So there's a lot that's going on in here. So thank you so much for being patient. But we are heading into Busan right now, ladies and gentlemen. University of Oklahoma versus CIU Rams. Winner moves on to round 2 in the winner's bracket. Loser is going to have to pull off a massive loser's bracket run.
I feel like the chat was just spamming caster start game.
Caster start game, yeah.
But, I mean, we started the game finally for you. But we're loading in here on to Sanctuary Dividing, and, well, let's take a look at the compositions that are coming out right now. We've got Hammond and Doomfist coming out from the tank line.
Yeah, I'm actually really interested, because, again, like I said, this is like the big open space. So you really want to have characters that are good at being able to traverse that open space very quickly. And both teams are deciding to go about this in a different way, where Oklahoma are kind of running sort of brawlish, because you have the Lucio that's going to be able to really transport the Doomfist and the Kiriko around the map. Meanwhile, CIU are going with that Pharmercy, and they also have Tracer, they have Wrecking Ball, players that are going to be able to get around very quickly without the help of the Lucio. You do have to keep your head on a swivel for your How's Your Day, though. That Ana might be vulnerable.
Love that name, by the way. Checking in with the mentals of all the Overwatch players they play with, but they're going to come in. Kasaki already hacked up by Wobbly, but Zest is going to make them pay for coming out of their cloak to send them back to spawn as Zest in the sky doing all the damage in the world right now, as CIU is going to start off strong and going to try to get this capture, and they do.
I mean, there's not a ton that you can really do about Zest right now after Oklahoma, rather than like a really good kunai headshot from Quinn. Woobly and Revan are playing very close range DPS heroes, so when Zest is up in the air, already 70% to Barrage, by the way, there's not going to be a ton that Oklahoma can do. All that they really can do in this current comp is just try and be super aggressive with their Doomfist and try and get a pick before Zest can.
Yeah, that's the old ignore the Pharah strategy. But right now, they can't seem to do that because, well, maybe not. Lugo and Quinn coming in strong for Oklahoma here. Zest still doing the work, but Lugo comes in with the boot, takes out Zest. And that should be Oklahoma taking this point as Lugo pops off.
Yeah, actually fantastic stuff there from Lugo, and that really exposed the big weakness in the CIU comp, and that's their support line. I mean, High As Your Day has swapped off to Kiriko, but that on a Mercy, you really don't have many tools to be able to fight off or to avoid. Mercy is not as maneuverable as she once was, but Zest going in early is going to find the tank of Oklahoma, and this is going to be the go button for CIU to go back in, and they actually get a quick flip.
Yeah, I mean, taking out Jeffy on the Doomfist, that's your central piece where you're trying to move in around, and they got him out early, so I mean, you have to back up.
Yeah, very well done there from Zest. Really nice target prioritization. Both ones would come back in very quickly, and they're going to have all 5 ults up momentarily, and a nice hack onto Kaseki. Yeah,
it was a good hack, but How's Your Day and Zest are going to be able to get 2 picks, and Zest with another nice rocket to Lugo, takes them out, and sends back Oklahoma back to spawn.
Oh man, this sucks, because look at the ults for Oklahoma. They have been on these ultimates for a really long time, but CIU are doing such a good job of playing aggressive that they really haven't had the ability to set up for them. Though with 90%, it's now or never for the Sooners.
So they've got to use them now because you can't use them the next round as they come in. The minefield started off from Kaseki, the EM, and now the EMP is going to be used, and it's going to find 4 on the board, and that should be enough for Oklahoma to get in, but maybe not. They're still not able to find any picks as Benji comes in with a pulse bomb stick, taking Jeffy down. Raven trying to do as they can to try to turn this fight. That's 2 picks for the Tracer, but the res is going to be there. You cannot 1v3 as CIU takes round number 1.
You know, you'd think that the CIU Rams, with the comp that they're running, it's really about playing slow and playing for poke, right? You just kind of hang around, you use the Wrecking Ball and the Tracer as sort of distractions to discombobulate the other team while you make it so... discombobulate the other team while Zest gets up in the air and gets picks. Zest is playing a very aggressive Pharah right now, and is able to get picks incredibly quickly, probably faster than Kaseki and Benji can even like set up dives. But we are going to be seeing a change here from CIU as we head on to downtown. Not quite as much open space here, still a bit. You could make Pharah work, but CIU are going to opt to run for the Sombra instead, with a very high-powered but potentially vulnerable support line with the Ana Zen.
Yeah, that's what I'm really worried about here. If Jeffy can get good dive into the back line with, say, Revan, that backline can be very exposed, and there it is. How's Your Day's already down and out of the fight. Winter follows quickly afterwards. I think this has got to be something they change up here, dividing.
Yeah, you simply cannot live, especially when Jeffy is just going to be jumping in on top of you immediately. And yes, this is going to be the swap up. So now you have the protective Suzu from How's Your Day on the Kiriko, and then Winter is going to be able to be a lot more maneuverable on the Mercy, being able to Guardian Angel away if you are under any pressure. And in fact, you go right back onto the Pharah. I think they thought something else was coming up from Oklahoma, but since it's Tracer Sombra still, you think, okay, free value for the Pharah.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that everyone realized Jeffy did get technically 4 picks in that last fight. Didn't highlight it, but it's huge coming in for the Doomfist. But Benji coming back into the fight, trying to maybe outdo Jeffy there. Already found 3 picks in this fight, looking for more. Zest takes Revan's the elimination onto Revan, and Lugo as CIU comes back strong.
It's just too much for Oklahoma to be able to deal with. You've got Benji from the side, you've got Kaseki from the front, Zest from up top. There's just so many different damage sources coming from so many different spots, and the target prioritization in that replay was insane. How they all just turned and focused on the same person at the same time, and it's just so difficult to live.
Yeah, it really is. As Jeffy is going to come back in here with a nice pick onto Benji, but it's still not really getting them anywhere. But hey, with that D-Mech as well, it's looking a lot better now for University of Oklahoma. But the Barrage coming out, finding two. The DPS gone, but Jeffy is just still doing so much work on this Doomfist right now. But you can't really feel with the Pharah and the Scar, but the beat is there. The Pulse Bomb comes out, takes out Jeffy in the end. It still
Here comes the
seems
EMP.
like CIU are going to be able to hold on, but the EMP is available, like you said, but I don't think they're going to use it quite yet.
Nope. You could have to try and do it a little bit, contest a little bit longer, but since the point did flip over, Oklahoma decides we're going to hang on, especially because How's Your Day and Winter both have their support ultimates available, so if you're able to cash out with the EMP and take out those supports before they can use it, that would be massive.
It really would, as Wobbly looking for the opportunity to use it, but hey, they've already found Benji in this fight, and that Tracer 1v1. The EMP comes out, connects to Zest, but the Suzu is there to keep him up and back into the sky. The healing's there, the Kitsune rushes coming on the board, the self-destruct not finding anything. It's an ult fiesta dividing, but who's gonna come out on top? It still seems like CIU have the upper hand. They haven't lost anyone, and taking that pick onto Quinn is huge. That's so much healing now gone, and the rest of CIU are going to be able to capitalize on the loss of the Kiriko as the Barrage finishes things out. Zest with another nice direct. The Pulse Bomb does find them in the end, but the overtime bar is not in their favor as CIU take map number 1.
My goodness. And what I noticed there, it's really easy to look at the composition that CIU are playing and think, oh, this is just individual players popping off. Because one fight, Zest has 3 picks. The next fight, Benji has 3 picks. This is not what we're looking at. We're not looking at individual players, individual gears popping off at certain points. We are looking at a well-oiled machine from CIU. They know how to play this Pharah composition. They know how all of these characters interact with each other extremely well. And when someone is in trouble, everyone turns to help them. We saw at the end of that fight, we saw, I think it was Kiseki, turn around to put a huge defense matrix onto Winter in order to keep that Mercy alive when she was under, I think, 20 health. Keeping that Mercy alive in that situation was absolutely critical, and CIU knew it as well as I did. So I'm actually really impressed to see how well this team has worked together. And unfortunately, it feels like Oklahoma are playing a composition that if you're going to be playing into a Farm Mercy, it's really not optimal.
Yeah, I mean, go back to Overwatch 1, what did everyone say? The direct counter to Doomfist was the Pharah, and that's what they're running right now. And without a long-range hit scan like a Cassidy in the lineup, it's not really working well for them. We do have the map pick though.
Yeah, very
coming
quick.
in. Very quick. They want to get this on the road. We're going to Shambali Monastery here dividing, and I'm like this. I'm like gonna like this.
Actually, I like this a lot from Oklahoma. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, you're all right.
But like I like this a lot from Oklahoma because I think that the geometry of this map and the meta of this map automatically discourages the Pharah because it is very sniper focused. Like on point A, you have that nice high ground that looks all the way down into the attacker's spawn. So Widowmaker Ash Hanzo gets a bunch of free value. Because of that, often you end up pairing a Sigma with that, which means you're able to use that extremely flexible shield, put that Sigma shield into the sky, block the sight lines for the Pharah if that is how CIU decides to go. I think this is a really good opportunity to see the Rams go on to a non-Farm Mercy comp and see if they will have the same level of success.
Yeah, I do also like this map for Ramatra as well. I feel like
For sure. I mean, it's its own land.
Yeah, I mean, of course. But I do. I feel like it's going to be a toss-up between the Ramatra or the Sigma, what these two tank players decide to come out on. But other than that, like you said, probably going to see some long-range hit scan, probably seeing some Sojourn, maybe a Tracer as well. But I mean, we can only guess. We have to see when we head into the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? I think if I'm guessing on how Oklahoma want to play it, because of how they decided to go for this map extremely quickly, I think they are doing it as a sort of Pharah deterrent. So I wouldn't be shocked to see the Sigma come out from them. That being said, then maybe in retaliation, CIU goes for the Ramatra because you've got a lot of really good, like the pummels from the Nemesis form on the Ramatra, they go through shields. So all of a sudden, the effectiveness of the Sigma shield becomes very much less.
Well, we'll have to check here in 15 seconds when they decide what heroes they're going to be picking. We obviously know Oklahoma is a lot quicker because they have to get to the spawn of CIU, but so we'll see here as they're going to be coming in, and at the moment they're on the D.Va, interestingly enough.
Yeah, I mean, this is also a really good against a Pharah because you're able to use the defense matrix to eat up as many of those missiles as you can. I'm a little surprised. It seems like Oklahoma are still going for the brawl-ish type of comp. That seems to be where they are comfortable. But the D.Va and also the Cassidy, I think, are two key adjustments that they're making. Even the Baptiste, because the Baptiste is hit scan to try and take Zest out of the sky. And CIU, it looks like they are acknowledging that and they're going to do that, and they are respecting it. Zest is going to be on the Hanzo this time around, but you do still have the Discord Orb from Winter, which could be brutal if that target prioritization is as good as it was on map 1.
It should be, as we're going to be taking this fight early on. Wobbly trying to get into the backline there on the Sombra, trying to hack up Winter. That's got to be that priority for him here. Still no picks coming in, but yeah, there. So you see Wobbly looking. The Silent Assassin trying to take Winter out. Oh my goodness, the peel from Benji was incredible. Taking Wobbly down immediately right as they decloak before Winter can go down. That's going to be huge, but Revan's going to turn it around, but losing Jeffy's tank form is going to not be good at all. That's a lot of front line damage being not being mitigated, as it's still though being really drawn up, and it looks like CIU have to back up.
I mean, yeah, Benji got taken out, and with that goes a lot of your DPS, so you got to back up. You know that your spawn point is closer, so you're going to be able to come back in as 5 a lot faster than Oklahoma is going to be able to be in. That's why we see Oklahoma backing up now. A little bit of a game of chicken, who's going to step on the payload next, but as we get back into it, keep an eye on Kaseki, who's getting up very close to that gravitic flux, or Revan, who's getting very close to dead.
Yeah, Deadeye, both things are coming up soon. But speaking of Kiseki, who's super low, they are going to keep him up and healthy thanks to that immortality field. But still, they're making slow and steady progress. And like we know from the Tortoise and the Hare, slow and steady wins the race. But they're going to have to walk into this Ant Matrix coming in. It's a lot of damage coming through, and Wobbly uses it to their benefit, taking How's Your Day down, as it's still looking good for University of Oklahoma at the moment as CIU's backing up.
Yeah, now all of a sudden, this actually kind of favors Oklahoma because we pushed up so far. The spawn point of CIU is now pretty far away from the fight proper, and Woobly taking out Zest with a headshot is massive. That's going to allow Oklahoma to push in. They could use some of these ultimates if they want to, but they really don't have to. I think you probably just save the D.Va bomb, you save the beat for when Columbia comes back in as a 5, because they also have 4 ultimates coming up here.
Yeah, they're going to be close to all of them in this mid-fight, but another nice shot. Winter down, who had the Transcendence available. That would have been huge for something like the Dragon Strike that Wobbly will have up in this fight, as it's another clean fight for University of Oklahoma. The self-destruct was used, but other than that, they keep all the ultimates that they had.
And now all of a sudden, CIU, that clock pressure, tick, 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 is going to keep on constricting on them. This is, if they're going to get it, it's going to be now, though. Get Kiseki that last 7% to the Gravitic Flux. Make sure it catches Lugo so that you're forced to use the beat to keep yourself alive. And then disengage with every other ultimate. At this point, it doesn't matter. You gotta get... Whoa!
They might not
Nasty.
They might not
Nasty.
even need the ultimates now. They are going to use Wobbly's Dragon Strike to try to change the tide of this fight. The Transcendence coming out as well. But again, they're not going to need the other ultimates here dividing. They've got Kiseki found that pick onto Wobbly. The need not coming in. The Jeffy as well. They saved 3 ultimates for these next couple of fights.
That is absolutely massive. I mean, this is why we see Hanzo so much right now in Overwatch, because those one-shot potentials, and Hanzo is actually so much more mobile now. It was just a 1 second decrease to the cooldown of the lunge, but that really makes a big difference in being able to get in and out of cover when necessary. And those one shots, we just saw it from Zeth, how it just completely turns the tide of a fight.
Yeah, and they're trying to change things up again. University of Oklahoma Wobbly back over to the Sombra here. They've got to try to change things up, and it's going to be hard. We saw the peel that they had with the
punched out.
Nice plays coming in from Jeffy. That could have been a huge Gravitic Flux coming out from them, but it's canceled thanks to the rocket punch. But Jeffy going down in the end, though, so it's still looking good for CIU. They're continuing to push this truck a bit further.
And actually, all of a sudden, this could be a very quick point B take from CIU, which is actually pretty tough because you're constantly playing on the low ground as you are kind of going up the tunnels. But now, being able to get an extra 90 seconds on the clock would be massive.
That was a huge sound barrier coming in from Lugo. Jeffy is at 60 HP, trying to keep them up. The stick with the magnetic bomb is there. Not going to take them down, but Revan so low, gonna get healed back up. They've got to figure something out. The hack comes through. How's Your Day is gone. It's a huge priority pick coming in from University of Oklahoma. Now they can capitalize and go in onto the rest of CIU to stop this cart progress and get it down to a minute.
Yeah, and again, because the spawn is so far away for CIU, oh man, they're swapping everything, Josh. They are going for full, just like old school brawl right now, which is great going into this comp, but you have to be extremely careful of the flankers. Woobly and now Revan going on to the Tracer is going to be constantly poking on that backline, and you have no ultimates to work with the EMP coming up in 5 seconds from Woobly.
Yeah, this is not looking good for them right now. They may well coming out with the immortality field already burned thanks to that rocket punch as the EMP connects to 2. Can they capitalize on it? It's not looking good. Revan went down in the midst of it, but the Kiseki goes quickly afterwards thanks to this Ant Matrix that was popped by Quinn. But it's anyone's point to fighting. They haven't found anything. And Winter finding another priority pick coming in. Jeffy's gone out of this fight. Benji finding another one as well. Quinn is gone at the 11th hour. CIU continue their triumphant push towards the end.
By the skin of their teeth, the Rams continue forward. And I gotta say, I'm really impressed by the line of sight there from CIU. It would be really easy for a team to just panic and full commit to the cart with the time running out, but they knew with all of the ultimates coming out, they were much better just hiding behind that wall, staying away from Woobly and that Sombra as much as possible. And with that, they have another minute to get as far as they can.
Yeah, and that's a lot about just knowing your maps, knowing what you can do and how you can get there quickly. But we have a swap over to the Ramatra there. The Blizzard coming out from Zest as well, locking up no one, I don't believe, as the rocket or the meteor strike comes out from Jeffy, finds Benji. It looks good for University of Oklahoma at the moment. They're gonna find all the picks they need to hold on here, and it's looking really close. 30 seconds to go, but Wadley has that EMP.
EMP is back up, but I will say the EMPs have not been very effective so far. Columbia International have been doing a really good job of just being able to sustain through those EMPs. They're not hacked up for very long in the Overwatch 2 version of the ultimate. This has to be big, though. It's really the only ultimate on the board for either team at the moment.
Yeah, they are going to get that Kitsune rush late in the fight, but Zest has already found Revan. They found 3. They need to have the follow-up, but no one's there. They've already lost Revan, and Jeffy can only do so much with the nerf to Doofus power going into Overwatch 2, but hey, maybe he's done enough. Jeffy's found 2, but there's still so many people left for CIU. This meteor strike on point. Benji's gone down. The charge coming out. Jeffy's so low. Only one man can only do so much as they continue their push of the cart.
Jeffy tried so hard. The heroics from the Doomfist player, not quite enough. But it does mean there's only a couple members of CIU that have to stay on the point to keep it moving. We are in overtime. You cannot get off. And the Kitsune Rush could be what they need to finally power through.
Yeah, but the Amp Matrix in response, and it's going to be so much damage in response, and it's working out. The DPS are gone. The tank is gone. CIU at the 11th hour yet again, Devin. They're able to complete the map.
That is insane. Overall team play from CIU, not crumbling under the pressure of the timer, which is so difficult, especially to do earlier on in like your competitive career. It's so easy to be like, oh my gosh, we have 30 seconds left. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? They stayed calm. They kept focused, and through overtime after overtime fight, they continued to come up clutch and win when they needed to. I just wish that Oklahoma were a little bit faster. It seemed like they had an opportunity when they had the EMP and nothing else was there, but they spent too much time trying to set up the perfect EMP that by the time they were there, CIU had already gotten a pick.
Really, the only they would have needed to get is a Winter, how's your day in that EMP, and focus them down immediately.
Exactly.
And we're talking about a completely different map here. This could have been done at first point in retrospect. But now they're having to deal with getting all 3 points on the board. They did get them to overtime, but it doesn't matter. It's still it's escort, so they still have that extra time. But right now, it's going to be looking difficult for University of Oklahoma right now.
I think we're going to have a little bit of a spawn camp action from CIU. As soon as those doors open, I'm expecting How's Your Day to use the speed boost. They're going to run through that house as quickly as possible and just try and intercept the Sooners as soon as they walk out of spawn. No, they're not going to do that. They have opted to just kind of stay at the corner, though. So how long before Oklahoma realizes what's going on? What are they going to do about it?
Yeah, they've got to figure it out now. We've got the forehead camp on Kaseki here. I had to point it out. But other than that, they're in the fight right now, looking to find this first pick. Can Wobbly get this priority hack onto someone like Winter or How's Your Day? And there it is. They are going to get it, but can they get the follow-up? No, the peel is just too intense for CIU. They keep them up and healthy, and they're not able to find that pick as they're going to have to back out.
Yeah, back out indeed, but right back in goes Jeffy J, and you do have 70% to that Meteor Strike already, but who's closer but Winter, the player that Woobly wants to take out so badly, already has that amplification matrix available. The closest things on the other side are maybe the Meteor Strike, and you do have the Pulse Bomb coming up in just a moment, but now you see the confidence start to build up from the Rams as they start to roam out into open space saying, daring even Oklahoma to come and get them.
Yeah, and they had to wait a little bit longer. Quinn got picked by How's Your Day there, and now they have to, that's going to buy them some more time. It's going to be 2:30 when this fight really breaks out, and they have to get something now as they're going to come in with the Meteor Strike, looking for anything, looking for something, but they can't find it. Zest has already found 2 in the fight, and and then the rest of CIU are able to capitalize and find the rest of the picks they need as it's continuing. The CIU is dwindling the clock of University of Oklahoma.
I really hope Revan is switching there, because you use the Pulse Bomb there when, okay, yes, you do swap onto the Cassidy, thank goodness. So you do see a couple swaps here. You're going to swap onto the Ramattra, like you said. Still a very good pick here because those pummels will go through the shield of Kaseki. So when you switch on the Nemesis form, watch out.
Yeah, as the hack coming in from Wobbly, they're trying to build up to the ZMP. They have it available now. The Shatter has come out. I don't think it connected to anyone, though. The Blizzard there as well from Zest to lock them all up, and that's going to be what you needed in the end. CIU yet again holding on.
They continue to hold on as we go under 90 seconds on the time bank, and really this cart has not moved much at all. Even if Oklahoma is able to win this next fight with the EMP, with the beat coming up, even if that happens, they still have to win 2, maybe even 3 fights if CIU makes it quick in order to just make it to point A.
Yeah, there's the EMP. It's going to be huge, though. That's the one they wanted. The Sound Bear going to keep Benji and Zest up for the time being, but when everyone else is gone, it's not really going to matter in the long run as the team kill gong sounds, as they're able to hold on to that beat as well. And they're also coming up to ultimates here as more ultimates.
All of a sudden, okay, this is big. I thought that you might have ended up committing the beat there just to make sure, but because Lugo holds on to it, that is a massive defensive tool that you can use whenever you feel like you're in danger. And like you said, that Annihilation, the Ant Matrix. Oh, okay, not the Ant Matrix. Sorry, I've cast a curse view.
Yeah, they're going to have to reset immediately. They cannot have any staggers as if they lose anyone late in this fight, it's last fight territory. They're going to pump everything into this dividing.
You have to. You're going to have, now you're definitely going to have the Ant Matrix. You have the beat, the Annihilation, and the Deadeye. 4 ultimates here from Oklahoma. Theoretically, especially with just the Deadeye on the other side, that should be enough to get that last little bit to point A, but it's going to be all about execution.
Yeah, look for this Annihilation to be the go sign for them. There it comes out, but the Deadeye in response from Benji could be massive. They have to stay around and on the cart. Can they get it? No, they do not get it, and the Annihilation goes down. No picks coming out from that either, but Kisaki is out of the fight now thanks to Wobbly's hack. I think they're going to be able to get it. No, they're going to come back at the 11th hour, and the Blizzard is on the point, and I think that's really going to be about it. Zest finds Quinn. It's just Jeffy J at the point, as that is going to be it. CIU take the map and the series and move on in the winner's bracket.
What a game overall from both of these squads. A lot of picking and counter picking going on. That's that's kind of the fascinating stuff that I love to see about Overwatch. But at the end of the day, Columbia International University, they repeat the 2-0 victory that they got in the qualifier matches, and I gotta say, really, really impressed by their ability to stay composed under pressure. Like we mentioned, that Shambali match could have so easily stopped at point A. We could have only seen point A throughout that entire map, and in that case, Oklahoma would have a fantastic chance, but through overtime fight after overtime fight, CIU came up clutch when they needed it most, and unfortunately, Oklahoma just couldn't quite do the same.
Yeah, and I think with that clutch factor that we're seeing from CIU, they've got to be my dark horse here. Yeah. Come in, maybe even take down Maryville. That's a tall order.
That's a tall order.
That's a tall order to ask, but that could be the possibility with that clutchness that we're seeing from them. That could be in the cards for later down in the bracket. And let's actually take a look at the bracket here if we can. To see how things went on as we start waiting to see what happened between Converse and Cincinnati Red. But we got the win from Ball State taking Ohio State, so they're going to be facing against Miami University. And other than that, that's the real change. The losers bracket is there as well. We've got the matchups almost all set there for you as well. As I'm excited to see that Blinn College versus Tennessee Tech game. 2 Council Bros on that team, both of those teams for me. I'm excited to see how those two end up. But other than that, dividing, I think that's about it from us. Do you have anything else to say?
Nah, I mean, this is only the start of what is going to be an incredible weekend of matches, so make sure to stay tuned, because as we start getting further along in the bracket, it's only going to get better and better.
So we're going to head to a short little break. Do not go anywhere. More Overwatch action right after this.